Coming up on Studio G, new details on the Texas church shooter. We have the latest behind the tragedy.
Plus, want to know how to prevent a carjacking? We sit down with Krav Maga instructor to find out.
And Senator Rand Paul is recovering after being assaulted by a neighbor. The reason for the altercation may not be what you think.
Don't go anywhere. Studio G starts right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Studio G. I'm Jessica Vargas.
And I'm Caitlin Knapp. More details continue to come to light as the small town of Sutherland Springs, Texas mourns the loss of 26 people. Now, residents and the country want some answers. It's been a little more than a month since the 1 October tragedy here in Las Vegas. It was the deadliest mass shooting in the United States. Now, tragedy strikes in Texas. Investigators continue to work and piece together a shooting at a church in Sutherland Springs. On Sunday, Devin Patrick Kelly walked into a Baptist church and opened fire. 26 people died. The youngest was 17 months old. Once out of the church, bystander Stephen Wolford chased Kelly and shot him twice.
People at that church, they're friends of mine, their family. And every time I heard a shot, I knew that that probably represented a life. I was scared to death. I was. I was scared for me, and I was scared for every one of them, and I was scared for my own family that just lived less than a block away. I'm no hero. I am not.
Police eventually found Devin Kelly inside a car. Officials say he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Digging into the background of Kelly, police found he was discharged from the Air Force for bad conduct. The Air Force did not disclose this to law enforcement, which could have prevented Kelly from purchasing guns. While the small town continues to mourn, residents in Texas never thought something like this would happen.
This is happening a month after Las Vegas, shortly after New York. Big cities. Do you ever think that a community like yours would go through something like this?
Never in a million years would I ever imagine this happening. Never. Never. I can feel the pain that everybody's going through. So much hurt for a small town, for a small community. So united. Never in a million years would I expect anything like this. I could never imagine anything like this ever happening here.
2 of the 5 deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history happened in the last 36 days. 58 people were killed here in Las Vegas at the Route 91 Harvest Festival. In Orlando, 49 people died at Pulse nightclub. 32 were killed at Virginia Tech. In Connecticut, 27 people died at Sandy Hook Elementary School. 20 of those were children. And on Sunday, 26 people in total died in Texas. Here in Las Vegas, a motive is not yet known behind our own tragedy. However, we will continue to stay Vegas strong and be a lifeline for those who are coping with their own tragedy. For Studio G, I'm Caitlin Knapp. And new this afternoon, according to the Associated Press, a Houston TV station is reporting that the shooter was in a mental health center in New Mexico and briefly escaped. We'll continue to monitor this developing story.
SWAT officers with Metro have shot and killed a man this morning. The man was the primary suspect in a double homicide investigation. Police say he may be involved in the killing of 2 middle-aged men in a Valley neighborhood. The SWAT team had a search warrant for the house next to the one where the 2 men died. That was where they found the suspect. Police say the man pulled a firearm on the SWAT officer before being shot twice. The suspect later died at UMC.
Pharmacy company CVS has recently announced that it will offer next-day delivery of prescription drugs. The drugstore chain has said that they will even do same-day delivery in certain urban markets. Delivery of medication and other store products will start in Manhattan on December 4th. Now, the service is then expected to expand across the nation in 2018. This decision came after reports of that Amazon obtained wholesale pharmacy licenses in several states. and these licenses could allow them to sell prescription drugs online. Amazon has proven to be a threat to retailers and grocery stores, including CVS. Now, this threat could scare away shareholders from investing into the pharmacy company. CVS CEO Larry Merlo stated that he sees Amazon as more of an ally than a threat. President Donald Trump's approval rating is at its lowest point. In a new CNN poll, 36% of Americans approve of how the president is doing his job, but 58% of Americans disapprove of how Trump is handling his job. These numbers come after the new information between Trump and campaign officials, and Russian operatives. Special counsel investigator Mueller made the first indictments in the Russian meddling case. 44% of Americans, they say, are, quote, very concerned about these recent reports.
The Las Vegas Springs Preserve celebrated its 9th annual Dia de los Muertos event this past weekend. It featured dance performances, face painting, sugar skull decorating, and more. Springs Preserve celebrated the creation of altars by local residents. These traditional altars are designed to honor dead friends and family members. They're decorated with photographs, burning candles, and incense. The loved one's favorite food is placed on the altar to remember those who have moved on.
It's officially November, and that means some more cooler weather and some gusty winds.
Brianna Haney has a look at your school week's forecast. Bree?
Afternoon, Rebels. I'm Brianna Haney with your Tuesday weather forecast. Our current weather conditions in Las Vegas are 61 degrees with an expected daytime high of 73 and an overnight low of 49. And you can expect sunny conditions all day long. Now let's take a look at our weather across the valley. Right now, it looks like we're in the 50s and 60s across the board with our highs in North Las Vegas and Boulder City and our low in Nellis at 52 degrees. Now, taking a look at our national forecast, you can expect to see rain and thunderstorms across much of the central and eastern coast today. And the rain will turn into snow in the New York area. You can also expect to see snow in the Colorado region. And here on the west coast in Nevada and California, sunny, beautiful skies all day long. And in Portland and Seattle, you can expect cloudy weather, about average for this time of year. Which brings me to the picture of the day. This is a tropical cyclone killed at least 49 people in central Vietnam. In addition to the deaths, at least 22 people are still missing in the region, and reports indicate that the storm has damaged almost 80,000 homes in the area. But the good news is that the storm has passed and it is no longer a threat to the region. So let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. As I mentioned before, Tuesday, today, it's going to be 73 degrees and you're going to see those sunny 70-degree weather throughout the week. Wednesday, you can expect a daytime high of 71, Thursday 76, Friday, it's going to be 73 degrees, and for your Veterans Day holiday, you can expect a daytime high of 72 degrees, perfect for getting out and getting some activity on the weekend. So if you're here on the UNLV campus, right now our current weather conditions are 61 degrees with 10 miles of visibility, calm winds, and humidity at 45%. And if you're going to be here late tonight, it's going to be an overnight low of 51 degrees here on campus, with starting out with calm winds, but around midnight, the winds will pick up to about 6 miles per hour. And you can expect clear, cool conditions all night long with a dew point of 39 degrees. And that's all the weather I have for you today. Back to you guys.
Coming up, the people of Blanding, Utah will finally be able to purchase alcohol.
Plus, 1 month after the 1 October tragedy, UNLV held a day of remembrance. Details about the event after the break.
I really enjoy doing my show. I love all types of rock, and that's why I'm doing Rock Through the Decades. We play the 50s all the way to today's rock music or rock bands. I want them to get the appreciation of how much rock has changed over the years and how it's still really great. You can never kill rock. I mean, rock is like the way to be, the way to go. The name of my show is Rock Through the Decades, and I am Rockin' Gemini. You can listen to this on the Rebel HD2 network.
Our Metropolis is a 30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our Metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
The show's name is the Rebel and Revolt Show. Pretty good show about, just someone who will actually talk about UNLV the way an outsider might feel. We talk about current events, we talk about politics, try to take an offensive swing with it. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but and we talk about, the little things in life that everybody laughs about. And we are the Rebels and we are revolting. My name is Jameson Wilk and I run the Rebel and Revolt Show, and you can tune in at therebelhd2.com.
Welcome back to Studio G.
Here are a few of today's top stories.
Police, firefighters, and civilians worked together to save a man trapped inside a burning car in California. CNN reporter Joy Benedict has the details on the amazing rescue.
It is a heart-stopping moment as 3 police officers pull a man from a burning car, the end of a 3-minute battle to save a life after a fiery crash.
Oh, they were right on it. They did a great job.
Ron May lives across the street and was one of several neighbors who ran out to try and help. The car was heading east on Lambert and Brea when the driver dozed off, missed a turn, slammed into a pole, and flipped the car. First on the scene, one of Brea's finest with his dash camera rolling. 25 seconds later, a second officer arrives, then a third, then a fourth, each grabbing their small fire extinguishers from their cruisers, but the fire kept coming back with the driver helpless inside.
At first, he was unconscious. We didn't know if he was okay or not.
The officers can be seen tugging on the doors. A carload full of USC fans who witnessed the crash were also trying to help, but the fire was hot and it kept burning.
Calling for a crowbar, they opened the back window, couldn't get him out.
2 minutes in, a police officer finds a crowbar. The fire department arrives and douses the flames, but when firefighters turned around to get the jaws of life, these officers heard the plea.
He woke up as the fire was burning his feet. At that point, you could hear the man inside going, I'm burning, get the fire out. Ow, I'm hurt.
Running on adrenaline and a desire to help, these Brea police officers pried open the door and pulled out the driver. Witnesses say his shoes were on fire.
The fire was in the engine part, and he was on the floor, and the fire was burning him.
The responding officers suffered minor burns and scrapes. The driver was taken to the hospital, but is also expected to be okay.
I think it's great. We hope that our officers will be out there and, help people anytime they can.
Yes, police officers risk their lives every day in our communities, but watching them do it without hesitation showed these neighbors what it truly means to protect and serve.
The identity and status of the man who was freed from the burning car is currently unknown. GOP Senator Rand Paul was allegedly assaulted by a neighbor at his home in Kentucky on Friday. In a police statement, Paul said he was tackled from behind and forced onto the ground. A senior advisor said Paul has 5 broken ribs and lung injuries. The suspect is Renee Boucher, who has been Paul's neighbor for years. A different neighbor who lived nearby said they believe they know what sparked the attack. The reason? Yard waste. Supposedly, Paul and Boucher have a long-running dispute over leaves and grass clippings blown onto each other's lawns. At the moment, it is unknown when the Republican senator will be able to return to work. Boucher is currently out of jail after posting bail.
The National Weather Service confirmed a tornado briefly passed through the town of Muncie, Indiana. CNN reporter Elizabeth Choi has more on the cleanup efforts.
Everywhere you look in Muncie, crews were out in full force. Wood chippers getting rid of debris. And electric company crews restoring power. Thousands were without, but electricity was the least of Felder Scott's problems.
That right there, that's where I was at right there where it hit at that window there.
Tucked away in his bedroom, Scott was watching TV when...
boom! And I'm sitting there and then the TV's coming at me. I said, oh man.
In a split-second decision, Scott raced down to the basement. Before 5 minutes had passed, the storm had also passed. Scott went out to assess the damage.
Oh man, I'll tell you, my mind was going 100 miles an hour.
The storm didn't just destroy his garage. It was so powerful that most of it ended up across the street, where it's blocking the neighbor's home.
The garage was totally blown completely over here.
The debris from Scott's garage missed Robert Anderson's home, but it did manage to flatten his tire and ding up his truck.
There's nothing compares to this. That in my whole life experience, nothing compares to this. Part of me wants to laugh, part of me wants to cry.
But for Scott, he's just grateful that he's alive.
You know, they talking about the, sentimental value and stuff like that. No, this body is sentimental enough for me.
So far, there have been no reports of serious injuries. Community schools in the town have been temporarily closed due to no power. Right now, there's no word on when classes will resume. Blanding is one of the last dry cities in the state of Utah, but that may change. The city will ask voters today whether the sale of beer and wine should be allowed. If successful, this will be the first time in 80 years that the people of Blanding can purchase alcohol. Although the majority of the people in the state are Mormon, restaurant and hotel owners feel this is necessary. They say it's needed because of the influx of tourists and drinkers. The city serves as a waypoint for those traveling between Denver and the Grand Canyon. Wow, I think they should do it because it'll bring in a lot of tax dollars and they could put that into education and just a ton of other stuff for the community.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's crazy. It's been 80 years since they ever had alcohol there. So I think that's pretty interesting there. Well, coming up, we sit down with Krav Maga instructor Kimmy Monaco.
We'll talk to her about her experiences with victims of domestic violence and how students can prevent carjackings. More Studio G after the break.
Studio G, at first it looks overwhelming, and at first it looks like it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you what, it's the most beneficial class I've had at UNLV to date, without a doubt. You get to not only develop stories and work on your interviewing skills, your editing skills, and your shooting skills from a camera perspective, you get to work on all the equipment that's in the studio. So you're working on audio, you're working on directing, tech directing, you get to produce your own show. You can take a 30-minute newscast and make it your own, and that's really cool about Studio G. Like I said, a lot of it seems overwhelming at first, but it is by far the best class I've taken at UNLV since I've been here.
Your community's farmers market. Welcoming, lively, friendly. A place where neighbors and friends come together to celebrate their community. With over 50 vendors, organic, sustainable, fresh produce are available just for you. Support and buy local at Fresh 52.
It's awesome. I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought it was just going to be fun, just me in a room playing music. And it's blossomed into something beyond what I imagined. Like, people just love it. There's like, a lot of people are eager and excited to be a part of UNLV radio. A lot of people didn't even know UNLV had a radio station, so I'm glad to be bringing that awareness to the Vegas community.
It feels great. You know, it's a great accomplishment because it starts as something that nobody knows about, and you get to build it from the ground up. So it builds your work ethic. It also gives you a sense of accomplishment when it's like, man, we made it. We did something. We made something that nobody else has made. So
it's great to be part of the student community and having to bring something to the student body with music, which is one of my passions.
I feel like it's giving me a voice, and not just for me, but for people who has had something they are passionate about. And I just want to, keep that conversation going and let other people see what we're talking about here.
It's amazing to have an opportunity to play whatever it is that you want to play. It's also a great way to connect and meet with new artists, great people, just music lovers in general.
What's up, it's your girl Scribe Cash. This is
the Prince Madison. This is the Takeover.
Played by the Video Games Live Orchestra.
Yeah, on Twitter, @MilesLowMusic and
Welcome back to Studio G. Today we have Krav Maga instructor Kimmy Monaco. Thank you for coming down here today. Thank you for being with us. So can you explain to us, what is Krav Maga?
So Krav Maga is an Israeli self-defense. So it is based off a natural reaction, and what it is, it was developed for just anything that possibly could happen, right? It's against multiple attacker type of situation, carjacking prevention, rape prevention, kidnapping prevention, in-home invasion, any worst possible case scenario you could possibly think of. It was based around, it was originally developed back in the 30s during anti-Semitism when it was starting to really build up, and it was just dealing with hand-to-hand combat with the communities. And so then it went from the military and then went right into civilian life in like the early 70s. And so it came to the US in '81, and now here we are, we're spreading the word of Krav Maga.
So how long have you been instructing?
I've only been instructing about 5-6 years. I've been in Krav Maga about 7.
Okay, and what motivated you specifically to teach people this fighting skill?
Honestly, I was attacked in an apartment complex by a group of guys. And obviously I'm here today to talk about my situation. But if I had known Krav Maga and just the different key points as far as timeline, I would have never walked into that situation. There was a lot of things that could have been avoided for that entire situation to not happen. And that's why I decided to learn it and then became an instructor.
And what can some people do if they were in a situation like you were, or if someone were to try and steal their car, or someone that's in a domestic violence situation? What can they do to prevent that?
This is the thing. When people come in and they're like, I want to start doing Krav Maga, the very first thing you learn is timeline. Understanding 360 degrees around us, right? Not focusing on a phone, not having earbuds in our ears, not ever looking around us as we walk. We're so focused every day because we're so busy and our minds are going.
Right.
The one thing we're forgetting to do is constantly being aware of our surroundings, right? So we need to constantly be aware. If I had been more aware of my surroundings and gone with my gut told me not to go towards them, but my apartment at the time was directly maybe 20 feet behind them.
So you had no choice.
I did have a choice, though. I could have walked back directly where I came from, which was a friend's house. And I didn't. I decided, I'm right there. If I just don't look at them and I just walk around, I'll be fine. What I didn't see was that they had separated and one had gotten behind me. So there was a lot of things that could have been avoided. And so what I teach is, it's same with carjacking prevention. You know, you need to be aware of your surroundings. Don't get out of your vehicle if you didn't even look around your perimeters. There have been many times where I have needed gas or I've needed something in the gas station. As I'm pulling in, I'm looking around me and I look to see, you know, who's there. If it looks sketchy or I feel like, you know, I need to take a minute to stay in my vehicle, I'll usually pull off and try to go to the next gas station, still to this day. As I'm getting my gas, I make sure I lock my door.
Yeah.
That way they don't sneak into your vehicle. The other thing is I'm constantly aware. If I'm getting gas, maybe I'll get inside of my vehicle, lock the doors.
Right.
But I'm always locking the doors. So it's just about being aware.
And where can people go if they wanted to learn this?
It's Krav Maga. I teach it. It's inside Camp Rhino. It's 7211 Southeastern Avenue, Suite 120, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's right off of Warm Springs and Eastern, and it's right in there. Come anytime.
All right, well, thank you so much for being with us today. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have. Again, I would like to thank you, Mrs. Monaco, for joining us. Don't go anywhere. Studio G will be back after these messages.
Get to do an internship, you have to do an internship. It's one of the requirements for a journalism major. You have to do an internship before you can graduate.
Definitely having an internship as a requirement really helps push yourself out there and to just remind you that, you know, that your graduation is coming up soon. You're going to have to need some work experience in your career. So it's really good to put yourself out there early on, and they tend to help students a lot more. So when you do a student internship, it really helps out a lot.
30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
We are Member supported. KUNV 91.5, The Source. Here's why you should become a member. Become a part of the public radio family while keeping jazz alive in Southern Nevada. Every member receives a discount card to businesses and restaurants around the valley, along with a premium of KUNV branded items. Exclusive access to KUNV ticket giveaways for concerts and events. And private members-only events with prominent musicians such as Paul Taylor, Vincent Ingala, and many more. We are 91.5 The Source, and that source is you. So become a member today.
I was able to attend the UNLV's Remembrance Ceremony this past Thursday night, and it was incredible. Check it out. Hosting a remembrance ceremony to honor those affected by the October 1st mass shooting on the Las Vegas Strip. The ceremony, located at UNLV's amphitheater, was attended by students and faculty, hoping to support and comfort those who were affected by this event.
We will not remember the coward who has done this heinous act. We will remember the 58 souls that are now sitting in heaven looking down upon us.
That cuts the path, it breaks your will.
We thought it was important to host something like this because I think it provides some closure for some people. I think that the vigil was something that was immediate and kind of more soothing at the time. And I think that having this event was a great way for UNLV itself to bring people back together and to remember why we're a community and remember that we had something bad happen to us and we should be there for one another.
UNLV's assistant hockey coach, Nick Rabone, who was in attendance at the Route 91 festival that night, suffered a life-threatening injury to his chest that required emergency surgery.
I just want to thank all the first responders, the police, the firefighters, the people that were just very, very heroic that night, and a lot of them even weren't wearing badges, just random people that were performing awesome acts of kindness that night, putting people in their cars and bringing them to to safety. And I mean, they deserve a lot of credit, and hopefully that those stories get shared.
UNLV victims shared the message of resilience during the ceremony.
As we cling onto our whys and we hug our loved ones a little tighter, it is my sincere hope that we take our next steps with unprecedented kindness, courage, strength, unity, compassion, love, and hope.
It's moments like these that remind us, no matter how tragic an event can be, we as a community can come together to heal and console one another as one big and strong family. Well, I attended that ceremony and it was just beautiful. It was just so many people that were there to support. We had, the victims that were in the podium talking about their experience and seeing how they're, getting through it. So I thought it was an incredible event.
And I think even though it's been a little bit more than a month, it's still just as emotional for so many people because this just affected everybody in a huge way. Whether you were there or not, it affected you somehow, and just knowing in your backyard, it was in your backyard, it hurts.
It really
but
was, yeah.
Showing that we're Vegas strong and how the community has come together is absolutely amazing.
Amazing, I totally agree with you. Just seeing all the support, and it's just, there's no words, It's just our community has really shown how we're so together, after all this. We had people helping other victims. We have the GoFundMe, which we reached, what was it?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than $11 million right now. If you still want to donate, you can go to the GoFundMe page. It's the Las Vegas Victims Fund that was put on by Clark County Commissioner Steve Sisolak and Sheriff Joe Lombardo as well. So it's about more than $11 million right now. And also tonight, Omnia is having a benefit concert where the money will go to the Victims Fund. A DJ there has already pledged, I think it was DJ Tiesto, pledged $200,000 already. And this is before they're having this concert.
Yeah.
The Killers and Imagine Dragons are coming December 1st to T-Mobile Arena as well. So it's going to be great.
Definitely. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Join us tomorrow for more news from around the valley and across the nation, right here on Studio G. Have a great day, Rebels.